Alright, welcome back for another look at Star Trek, the official Starships collection. Now, I have before me issue 34, the Vulcan Surak class cruiser, as seen on Star Trek Enterprise. We have our ship here as well, but let's first get to the magazine. So here we go. It is Surak class, launched in the early 22nd century, length 350 meters, with a maximum speed of warp 7. And as usual, standard in all of the Eaglemoss Star Trek magazines, and I'm sure other collections as well, we have our table of, not table of contents, but our specification page and our how to assemble the ship onto the stand, and so on and so forth. Some more basic info, operated by the Vulcan High Command. It's Surak class, 350 meters, maximum speed warp 7, with particle beam emitters and photonic torpedoes for weaponry. The captains that we have seen, the Vulcan captains that we have seen, are Vanek and Sopek. That almost sounds Klingon, doesn't it? But alright, turn the page, another great image of the ship here. This time it's a different image than what is seen on the cover, with some information about it, as well as a screen cap or two. More screen caps from episodes from Enterprise, as well as some more information about the ship. Here's one of the Vulcan captains down there below. And the center page, diagrams showing what things are, what they do. And a section on the designing of the Surak class with some very nice imagery there. What's interesting about this section is you can see the thought process, what they went through, and this ship in particular, they were kind of building off of the Vulcan ship seen at the end of Star Trek First Contact, so that's what this little design here is. But they never quite went that route, but it would have been cool to see. More CGI rendering images there, and some more information. Oh, another little interesting piece. In Star Trek The Motion Picture, there was a kind of a design by Matt Jeffries on the wall when Commander Decker or Captain Decker takes Lieutenant Ilia or the probe of Ilia through the recreation room of the Enterprise, and you can see the various incarnations of all the various ships called Enterprise, and one of them was a ship that looked sort of like this. And they kind of used that as like a basis of the Vulcan ship in the 22nd century, which is interesting, you know. More conceptual art, not conceptual, but more CGI renderings. Interestingly to note, I really kind of wish they had gone with this design, adding, 2 or 3 warp nacelles there. I just think it looks really cool instead of the way they went without the nacelles. But I guess the O-ring around it is the warp engine drive pod or whatever. And here's the section creating the CGI ship that we saw on the show. By this point in the Star Trek franchise, they were not using physical models anymore, and for Star Trek Enterprise in particular, it was the first Star Trek series to be filmed in high definition. So CGI really kind of stood out in this show. And we have our on-screen page. Its first appearance was in the Enterprise episode Breaking the Ice. And I believe its another appearance is in the episode Fallen Hero. So the Vulcans were kind of featured prominently on Star Trek Enterprise as they were helping the humans kind of get themselves together to get out into the interstellar community, while at the same time holding them back. So there were many episodes that dealt with the friction between Earth and Vulcan, because humans felt like the Vulcans were holding them back, and the Vulcans felt like humans weren't ready, and they were kind of devious, and You know, it kind of showed, the show kind of showed how the Vulcans have evolved from this sort of lying, devious bastards to the enlightened, calm, um, Vulcans that we know of today. So anyway, so that's the magazine there. Next up, next month, will be I'll be getting the 22nd century era Klingon bird of prey, one that I'm really, really looking forward to. I don't know what's with issue 36. I'll have to check that out. But I'm really looking forward to this one. I've always liked that ship since I've seen it on Enterprise, but I'm really looking forward to it. Anyway, there's the bottom of the ship, or is it the top? Can't really tell. Magazine. And now for the ship. First impressions, I have to confess, a little disappointed. Why? Because of its size, I guess. It looks like a big pencil or pen with a ring around it. It's nice to have a Vulcan ship in the collection. It just, once again, it just shows Eaglemoss's commitment to giving us a wide variety and diverse collection of Star Trek ships that span the entire Star Trek universe, and all the different eras and timelines and so forth. So it was really cool to at least get a Vulcan ship. Personally, I would have liked the other one, the big one with the ring around it. I forget what it's called. But this one, there's some nice detailing there. I will say there is nice detail. The ring kind of came off in mine, so I kind of had to glue it back on with a little crazy glue. And I guess the blue for the warp drive is kind of like the ring that goes around, the blue inside the ring that goes around, if you can see it there. And there's some detailing on the windows there, even though it's slightly off, but that's okay. There's no Vulcan symbols or anything. So looking at this, you would never know that I guess this is a Vulcan ship unless you're a fan of Star Trek Enterprise or something. But to me, it just looks like an oversized pencil pen with a ring around it. Or maybe it's, I don't know, communications tower if you stick it up. But again, it's cool to have, but this was a ship that I was not really like on the edge of my seat waiting to get. Look, it's just small compared to the other ships in the collection. But nevertheless, I'm happy to have it. And it does have some nice detail for the scale for what it is. And again, this is the first time that we've ever gotten a Vulcan ship in model form at all. That is, aside from the famous, I believe it's called the Tiplanahath. I think if I'm remembering the name correctly, this was the name of the Vulcan shuttle that dropped off Spock in Star Trek The Motion Picture. So we've seen that before, and that has appeared in some various guise or another. But other than that, there has never been any real Vulcan ships created. A few years ago, Hallmark created the Vulcan ship, the big one with the old ring around it that I was referring to earlier. They kind of made one for the Christmas ornaments, of which I have, but it's tucked away now that the holidays are over. But that's the Vulcan ship that I hope that maybe we'll get later on in the collection. But other than that, I don't think there's ever been a Vulcan ship created in model form. So, despite its small size, at least we have a Vulcan ship, because we never would have ever gotten this otherwise. So if you're a Star Trek fan, I would recommend this for you. If you're a completist, if you're a fan of Vulcans, well then of course get it. If you're a fan of Enterprise, of course get it. If you're not a fan of Enterprise, then this might be one that you would skip. This certainly isn't a ship that I could live without it, but I'm glad I have it anyway. But if you're not a fan of Enterprise or anything like that, then I definitely wouldn't bother picking this up at all. But you know, I'm glad. Kudos to Eaglemoss, and I'm glad they included it. So anyway, that's the Vulcan ship in a nutshell. I'm sorry, there's not much to show, but I mean, there really isn't much to talk about the Vulcan ship. So I look forward to next month getting the Klingon bird of prey from the Enterprise era. That ought to be fun. And who knows what else. And I think my All Good Things Enterprise D should be in, so hopefully that'll come with it. So I look forward to seeing you guys then. And until then, live long and prosper, and catch you guys on the flip side.